We are back and talking about confidence today, which is such a broad topic, but I was talking to Jennifer about it beforehand. And, with past clients and other people that I've talked to, I think confidence is a big thing. I mean, no one really wants to admit they're not confident in
Right.
certain things, I feel like. But I think there's always a moment, at least one moment in your life where your confidence is definitely challenged. I mean, even Kanye and his confidence has been challenged as of late. Let's just be honest.
Yes, it has.
And his confidence is like through the roof.
Right. He's very, I mean, yeah, he's like, I'm a genius. I'm God. I'm this. So, yeah, he's got usually good confidence.
Yeah, but then he's also blowing up and going, well, I shouldn't say going crazy. Let me not use those words. I said
Yeah.
it. But also being very
Emotional.
emotional and
Hmm.
irrational on
Hmm.
social media. Um, which to me, I think, if we're being honest, this is a man whose confidence has probably been broken because he's
Yeah.
now lost the love of his life. So, I mean,
And usually that's when the confidence does get broken, right?
mm,
A breakup,
hmm
a loss of a job,
hmm
those kind of major trauma sets off that not being so confident in life.
yeah,
You
yeah,
start questioning yourself. Why wasn't I good enough? What happened? All of those things, which all stem from your childhood, you guys.
mm,
All that childhood trauma that you carry around, that's how you show up in the world. That's why it's so important to do the work and get to the core of that so you can correct it.
right.
Because all it is your inner child, screaming out. That's why he's being emotional and irrational, is because it's an inner child that's like couldn't get comforted or the attention or whatever the case may be. That's how
Mm-hmm.
it's manifested and showing up in his adult life in his current relationship.
Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting because it, if you haven't watched that documentary on Netflix, I hear it's great. I haven't watched it, but I've been a big Kanye fan for years. Like I definitely um his music was really a big part of my college years.
Mhm.
Funny enough, college dropout, and that was just a big, profound time in my life, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
in transitional time. And he just came out exuding confidence, like crazy confidence.
Hmm.
And from what I hear in the Netflix special, it talks about how his mother was such a big influence of that confidence.
Yeah.
I've seen in other documentaries where they talk about how, or where I saw where she was basically, she built him up. I mean, just like any other mother would, but
Right.
she was his cheerleader. And I almost
Excuse me.
wonder, did he become too self-reliant on that, at some point? I mean, because unfortunately he lost her unexpectedly. Um, and so now you remove this person that's
Mhm.
provide, this confidence compass, more or less.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so now how do you navigate without that? And I think what we can learn from that is like, yes, you definitely want to have good people in your life cheering you on, but
Hmm.
you have got to have that confidence within yourself. Like you cannot have it solely dependent on one person,
Right.
family or not. You
Yeah.
know, it, it's got to start within you.
You have to be your biggest cheerleader.
Hmm
You
hmm
have to love yourself more than anybody else is going to love you.
Yep.
That's the key. You
Mm,
have to know that everything that can possibly make you happy in this life is actually in within you. It's internal. Nothing external can make you happier than your own self if you
right.
really understand how to tap into that.
hmm
And so, yeah, I could totally agree. You have to be your own cheerleader. But
Yeah.
how do you do that, right?
How do
So,
you?
how do you learn how to do that? Especially if you were raised in a household where you didn't get that support, where you
Yeah.
don't even have that foundation. He had the foundation because he had it in his mom. I know
hmm
I had the foundation because I had it in my mom and dad. So I had people that would build me up all the time, but I still wasn't confident in certain parts of my life. Um, Listen, I'm 5'9". Growing up, I hated being the tallest person in the class. I was
hmm
not confident. I would
Really?
like, yeah, oh my God. Like I would wear like the flattest sneakers you could.
Really?
Like I hated being tall,
Wow.
hated wearing heels. And I remember moving to LA, going into fashion, and being around these girls who are literally 6 feet tall,
Right.
wearing 4 inch heels, and they would walk into a room. And then, mind you, a lot of celebrity men are short. So
Right.
they usually have women that are taller than them because they're models or whatever the case may be. And seeing that on a daily basis, it grew my confidence to the
Mm.
point where I was like, F it. Yep, I'm 5'9". I'm gonna wear these 4 inch heels and I'm gonna be 6'2", and I'm gonna rock it and I'm gonna look good.
Mm.
And that's actually what built my confidence. Moving to LA and being around other women who were extremely confident with their height.
Well, no, and I think you really hit on something really important. Representation matters, and
Mhm.
you certainly do want to be challenged in life, and we talked about in the episode last week, even you need to put yourself out there and be
Mhm.
around people you aspire to be like.
Mhm.
Um, but that also could be physical as well. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So in a sense, you ended up being surrounded by people who were owning their height and their
Yep.
presence. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And by being around that, it only just heightened, for better lack of words, your confidence.
Yep.
So, and that could have such a profound effect when this is something you can't change about yourself. I mean, I don't think you can get surgery to shorten your
No, just like men who are short can't get taller,
right.
women can't get shorter.
So, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't. Who now? I gotta Google and see because they're
You know
so
what? They do have those shoe lift things for
like
men.
Prince.
Yeah, but that's all I've ever heard of.
I vaguely recall reading a random article about how you can lengthen your bones, and people are doing it just to get like an inch. It's I vaguely yeah.
Oh, like hanging, maybe like hanging on those vertical.
No, like
Huh?
getting a surgery
Oh,
open and lengthening their leg.
no.
Yes.
Stop it.
I'm gonna find it. Yeah, just and we'll add it to show notes. I don't know if I should, but I remember reading this and it was real. I was like,
Just do yoga, you guys. It will help lengthen your
LinkedIn.
ligaments. Pilates, all that helps lengthen the ligaments. You don't need surgery. That's a little drastic.
Well, put your shoulders back, fix your posture. You know what
Fix
I
your,
mean?
fix your
Stop,
ab, your core,
yeah,
sit
stop
up
looking down at the
straight,
phone. Hold it up.
go to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
Don't do surgery. That's crazy. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking people who go get their booties and all that other stuff. Not, but that was
No,
just
but
extreme.
yeah, your bone structure. That's a
Yeah,
lot of you
yeah,
guys. The spine, the bone structure, all of that is the way it is for a reason. You start manipulating bone structure, you're going to have some problems.
yeah. But going back to confidence, and obviously people are doing these things
Hmm.
to build, in hopes of building their confidence. They
Yeah.
look in the mirror and they're not happy with what they see and how they feel about themselves. So obviously, there are opportunities out there to surgically enhance almost anything, I feel like these days.
Yeah.
But as we always say, are you are you shifting what's needed inside to really maintain that confidence? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
To move progressively. Like if you haven't dealt with what could possibly be holding you back, I mean, does it really matter if you have the surgery? You
No,
know?
no, because it's not going to change the habit.
No.
So if you're going in for surgery to get liposuction because you want to lose weight, you want to get your breasts done, you want to get your BBL, remove the fat. If you haven't changed what's up in here, your
Mm-hmm.
body's only going to look good for so long
Mm.
because the mindset goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've had girlfriends, I've had people get liposuction, and because they think that's the fix it,
Yeah.
they don't do any working out after. And so the weight goes someplace else, and then they're still back in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have weight in different spots.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it's so important, you guys, to like fix the mindset. And again, like we talk about in a few podcasts back, is it your belief system? Is it your story that you are actually believing, or is it somebody else's story that you brought onto yourself? Why is it that you don't like yourself? Why is it that you're not confident? Whatever it is, whatever that self-talk you tell yourself, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because then once you address that, then you can start correcting it. We're like, wait a minute, I was 5 years old and somebody didn't want to play with me on the playground. And that made me feel XYZ.
Yeah, you're right.
So at 5 years old, really, is anybody really understanding at five? We're selfish at five. We want what we want at five. We say mean things at five. Like all of that is a trigger for how you show up in the world in your later years. That is insane, right? But it
It,
happens,
it's real though. It's
right?
very real.
So we have to correct that.
Mm.
That's where we talk about doing the work, getting into the mindset, really questioning your thoughts. Why
Mm-hmm.
do I believe this about myself? Where
Mm-hmm.
did I learn this? These are
Yeah.
the kinds of questions you should be constantly asking yourself throughout the day when a thought pops up and it doesn't make you feel good.
Yeah. I think ultimately by facing that whatever that catalyst may be, or even your fear,
Hmm.
that's going to help you build your confidence, you
Hmm.
know. So sometimes you kind of have to go cold turkey or rip off the band-aid and just
Hmm.
face it. Like
Yeah.
stop thinking about from a lacking or from a scarcity mindset, like this is holding me back, or if I tried this I'm going to fail. Well, if you try it, what if you succeed? Think about it from an abundance perspective. Like if
Yeah.
I actually put myself out there and I spoke in front of this crowd, or I
Hmm.
put that social media post up, or I asked this guy out, wherever it might be. What if it was a yes? Thinking. I had someone mention before, I had a conversation with someone, and she said as she reached out to pitching for sales, she stopped counting the no's and started counting. Or sorry, she started counting the no's because she knew after so many no's, she would get so many yeses. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So
yeah.
she started spinning the negative into a positive. Like, if I get so many no's, eventually I'm gonna get this many yeses.
Yep. You're like, I know the next one's going to be a yes because I
Yeah.
got 10 no's.
Yep.
Totally.
And,
This is the same
and
thing
I
with sales.
And I
Totally.
thought that was actually really clever because so many times we're taught to be these infallible, careful creatures, you know what I mean? And certainly, you don't want to everyone's means and situation is different, but if you're wanting to shift something in your life, you're going to have to shift your comfort zone, as we talked about, and you're going to have to build your confidence in a different place. Like you can't, you're not going to do profound and new things if you're doing the same damn thing over and over again.
Over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's the
uh,
definition of an insanity.
it is. It is. My question to you would be, for someone who's like, I just need to build my confidence so I can go after this job or whatever it
Mhm.
may be. Um, it kind of makes me think about, I mentioned before, Rihanna's clip. Someone asked her, what do you do when you wake up in the morning? You're not feeling your best self. What do you do? And she said, fake it. And do you think that works? I guess that's my question to you. Do you think faking
Mhm.
it till you make it
To
works?
to a certain extent, if you got to get through the day, yes, it's okay to fake it till you make it to get through a day.
Mm-hmm.
I would not try to fake it till I make it to get through months,
Mm,
because what that is doing is creating a new habit, and it's not healthy.
mm,
And all of the everything we do, you guys, every day is habit.
yeah.
That's all it is.
Mm,
It's habit that's attached with an emotion that we are so comfortable in.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
No,
that's why it's so hard to break a habit, is because it's
yeah.
hard to break that emotion that you find comfort in.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I was talking to someone yesterday about their human design. Funny enough,
Mm,
we're reading some stuff about their charts because I'm just
yeah.
knee deep in this now and just trying to understand them more. And one of the things it mentioned was, in life, they are seen as a mentor and a helper, and people seek, go to them for guidance
Mhm.
in business and life. But underneath that, they're actually wearing a mask because they're doing things that are not necessarily always aligned. to what they do. Like they thrive based off of being this expert, but get them in a personal situation, and they actually feel off because it's just like, I haven't mastered this because I'm constantly, um, what's the word that I'm looking for? They're constantly setting aside what they really want to do to help others, if that makes sense.
Oof, worst thing you could do.
And it was just really interesting, understanding this about this person. Um, and absolutely love her to death. But it made me realize a lot of people are walking around like that. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? That they appear to be confident and comfortable and competent with certain things. But then, get them out of a boardroom, get them out of social, get them off of a reel or a TikTok, in real life, in a real moment, and they're awkward. You know what I mean? Get them
Oh
out of
yeah,
their element, and that confidence depletes.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Because
I think that
they've mastered
they
something.
yeah, they mastered wearing a mask,
Yeah.
really. And it's not that you got to be confident in all settings. Like, again, that we're human, like,
Hmm.
but but I guess what I'm trying to say is, you really got to be careful with that fake it till you make it stuff. Are you really addressing those inner child things that you lacked, or those catalysts for these false and
Mhm.
limiting beliefs, that ruminate in your brain? Or are you just wearing a mask and underneath the foundation's really fragile and just waiting to fall apart when you're in a moment where you're not truly secure? Does that make sense? Like, are you a house of cards?
Here's the thing. I totally agree with everything you just said. Um, and it goes back to what you said a long time ago. You need to take up space.
Mm,
I think it's so important that every living human being understands they are here for a reason and they have a right to
mm,
take up space and to
mhm.
be seen and to be heard,
Yes.
period.
Yeah.
And if we can teach our children that every single day,
Yeah.
a lot of these issues that you and I are talking about on this podcast would no longer exist.
That's true. Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of people are house of cards because they don't feel like they are worthy and that they're allowed to take up space on this earth, which, because they woke up that day, that has given them the VIP card to show up and
Mm,
take up space.
yeah.
You're here for a reason. If you weren't, you would not have woken up and taken a breath.
Right. No, you're right.
That's
Yeah.
it.
You being here is a gift. Your life is a gift, and it's meant to be. We're social beings. We are meant to be with
Hmm.
one another, and to help with one another, but you
Hmm.
certainly don't want um to set yourself aside, because you're constantly wanting to please other people. People pleasing could definitely, it may appear that you're confident because you're helping people, but in actuality, kind of what I was going back to,
Hmm.
you're completely cutting yourself off and not delivering on your own needs, which can build your confidence.
Right.
At
No,
the end of
totally.
the day.
And that usually comes from childhood where you were not you learned at a very young age that if I acted this way,
Mm,
I would make mommy and daddy happy.
mhm, mhm. It's seeking that affirmation from others, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
My love language, as I've learned, is words of affirmation. But as a funny enough, as a not funny enough, as manifestors, we're supposed to inform. Like, that's our strategy. Like,
Right.
we're meant to inform. That is our superpowers, in a sense. And I'm like, well, why the hell do I need people to affirm me if I'm just supposed to be informing? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I feel like it was such a, conflict there. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I think there's still nothing wrong with having to be affirmed by those who matter. I think I need to kind of separate it. Like, I don't need to be affirmed by everybody and their mom. There was a point in
No.
time where I wanted to please everyone,
Right.
but you need to affirm yourself. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you need to
Yeah.
be affirming and loving on yourself. And this goes beyond the affirmations that you just repeat to yourself in the mirror and everything. It's just every action that you're taking on a daily basis, that you're practicing those routines and all that other things. Are they working in a way to affirm your confidence in the person that you want to be?
Yes.
You know,
Totally.
like
That.
you're especially if you found, I was submitting to you, if you found that your love language is getting affirmed, I would question, are you affirming yourself? You may not necessarily, it may not even be that you need to be affirmed by others. Are you affirming yourself? Are you
Right.
loving yourself the way that you need?
Right. 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 It goes back to, do you even know how to love yourself?
Yeah, girl, that's a big one.
These are all this it's
It
all building blocks. And that's where
is.
people just, ooh, it's so hard, y'all. It is.
It
I'm
is.
not gonna say it's hard. It's so challenging.
Because you feel like you just start pulling up rocks, and it's like, God damn it,
And I want to get, and
it's
I,
another one.
right. But I want to be able to, I think you and I both would agree. We want to be able to give tools to people that are listening to this
Yeah.
that's going to help them learn all of these things.
Hmm.
So, yeah, we could talk to you all day long, but if we're not giving you a tool, and I'm just thinking of what tool could we give them right now that would
You
help
know,
them with that?
I think part of it, I think what you said earlier in terms of looking back to your inner child, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And getting to the root of what story did you start adopting in your life where you've then made this decision to live life a certain way, and that this was
Yeah.
your parameters and boundaries in life in terms of your confidence and belief systems, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. You really
Right.
need to look at your belief system, and that
Where
that's a
they came
whole
from. Yeah.
thing.
Where they came from.
Yeah,
Exactly. Where did those belief systems stem from?
yeah.
Let's
And
start
then
there.
once you identify them, how are you going to rebuild them? What are you going to rebuild them with?
Yes.
And I think that goes into identifying who are the people that you admire. What attributes do they have? How do they
Hmm.
show up in a room? How do they show up online or whatever it may be? What are the
Right.
words? And it's not that you want to mirror these people per se, but maybe you want to, what's the word that I'm looking
You
for?
want to emulate some of their positive traits that you wish
Exactly.
you had in yourself.
Exactly. So how do you start fostering that? So you've identified what you want to replace it with. Okay, so then how do you start practicing that? And part of it is just trying. This kind of goes into the fake it a little
Hmm.
bit, but you
A
want to
little
be,
bit, yeah.
yeah. So you
This is where
start,
affirmations will come into place because
yes,
every time those negative thoughts pop into your mind, you got to replace it with the positive, and then you got to back it up with the feeling.
absolutely. But I think also challenging yourself. We talked a lot about last week about challenge yourself in your comfort zone, and I highly suggest you listen to that. But put yourself out there. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And in situations where you are being challenged, where you notice you're easily falling back into those limiting beliefs, those comfort zones. Um, do you have the the confidence to say, I'm not going to go that direction? And you may not know exactly the exact way to go in the opposite way, but you're like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to revert this way. I'm going
Right.
to acknowledge I'm falling into this, and I'm not going to go that way. And sometimes that might just be enough. I feel like it's just, especially when you're in that situation. Um,
Control Alt Delete.
yeah, control alt delete. Yes.
That's what my chef used to say, Chef Myra. She's like, Control Alt Delete. Control. I was like, oh, I like that.
But
Control Alt Delete, you guys.
but I think that's really helpful because every day, every moment is a new opportunity to build that confidence.
Absolutely. Every second. Absolutely.
You could practice at the grocery store. You could practice. There's so many opportunities to practice and to really face. I think it's fear
It
really
is.
what stands in the way of someone's confidence, and
Mm-hmm.
it's incremental and putting yourself out there little by
Mm-hmm.
little to combat those limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
You
Little
know.
by little, every day. Just do a little something every day. And then
Mhm.
after time, you'll just be building up,
Mhm.
building a solid foundation of confidence.
Mhm. Mhm. I love also how you mentioned being around others um, helped, you know, like
Totally.
minded people or people that you aspire to be. So,
Hmm.
you know, and not that helps you if you can't figure out the habits. Being around people who already have those habits will help, and you can start identifying. Oh, I need to try that. Oh, they're doing. Let me try
Hmm.
this too. So,
Yep.
um, birds of a feather, you know.
Man.
Yeah.
Like-minded energy. It's amazing.
And then the last thing I'll say, and something that I've been practicing this week, I haven't been journaling, but I've been really cognizant of the chatter in my brain
Hmm.
and what's happening, and really asking myself, well, why am I feeling this way? Like, is this real or is this a moment?
Hmm.
Like this week, I have felt so bleh. Part of it, I think, is because I'm PMSing. Actually, I think a big portion of it is.
Oh God, are we on the same cycle?
Oh God. But I've just been like, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
But I've pushed myself to do certain things because I know what I'm going to feel like on the other side of that. And I know that building, we've, my physical journey, I feel like that's a confidence thing for me. Like, it's about building my confidence in a whole different way, not for the even the outwardly appearance. It's that
Yeah.
mental.
It's
And so
the
I'm
mental.
like, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna do it, even if I, it's. I know I don't really want to sweat and I don't want to be out of breath, but I'm gonna at least try. And then ultimately, what happens is I'm going and I'm like, now I'm really gonna try because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in it, so I might
Yeah.
as well try real
Yeah.
hard.
And it feels good. And it's starting
Yeah,
to feel good. You're like, okay, this is what I needed.
yeah,
Working out is like amazing. It sucks to start, but when you're in it, you're doing it. And then when you're done, oh, it's amazing. The
it
feeling.
is all those endorphins.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that, I mean, you know, if you're afraid to dance, if you're afraid to, you know, speak in front of people, um, you're gonna have to incrementally try certain things to
Yeah.
combat that fear. I wouldn't expect someone to just again rip off the band-aid right away. Some that works for some people, but
Yeah. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just do something.
dip your toe, and then eventually
Yeah.
your whole foot's in there.
And then you're like, then my leg,
Yep.
and then your whole body.
Yep. And the next thing you know is up to your damn chin.
Yeah.
He's
It's
like,
gonna
let
get
me
on my
get
hair.
it. Actually, it's like getting in the pool. You know what I mean? It's like
I know when it's cold, at first you're like, oh.
start shaking and everything. But
Oh,
that's I feel
man.
like that's what's like building your confidence.
It is.
And whereas eventually you now see that pool of water, you just jump right in, like, this is nothing.
Unless it's heated, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not jumping in like that. I don't like cold. It's a shock to the system.
No, I get it. But metaphorically
No,
speaking,
I know.
I think that's how it eventually
Yeah,
builds up over time.
it will. It will. I mean, confidence is half the battle, you guys. If you can get that down, you're
Mm.
halfway there.
Would you say you're confident out of
In
curiosity?
certain areas, yeah.
I feel like you're very confident.
Girl, yeah, in certain areas, I'm very confident. No fear. And in other areas, scared to death.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Are you afraid to tell people when you're scared of things?
No, I'm
No.
scared to fly.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I'm
Yeah.
completely transparent about that. I have to
Hmm.
take Xanax to get on a plane. I don't like it. I used to be able to fly all the time by myself, easy peasy, go to Hawaii, go here, go there. And I had a panic attack on an airplane and it changed everything about me flying. So
Hmm.
I'm currently working on that because there's a lot of places in this life I want to see, places I want to go, and that is one thing that is completely holding me back.
Hmm. Do you mind sharing? We could cut this out, but do you mind sharing what you're doing to face that fear and build your confidence back up?
Well, what I did before, um, I was meditating a lot. I was visualizing myself getting on the plane, it being a comfortable experience.
Mm.
And then after, so my husband, when I first met him, this was one of the things I told him literally on our second date, y'all. I laid every issue I had out there. And I said, take it or leave it. That's where I was. And he was like, oh, that's it. No problem. And I was like, did you not hear me? I really don't like flying. And you're talking about having a house in Vegas. This is when we're starting to date, you guys. Having a house in Vegas, and then he had a business in the Bay Area. So for him, it'd be like commuting, just
Hmm.
hopping on a plane, going home to Vegas, and then going back to work.
Mm.
And sometimes, depending on where you live in the Bay Area or in California, it's faster to travel on a plane than it is in a car
Right.
to get to wherever you need to get to.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. He helped me tremendously to get back on airplanes.
Mm.
And then we were flying a lot of different places because he traveled a lot.
Mm.
And then COVID hit, and then we didn't travel at all.
Hmm.
So now the fear builds back up.
Mm. Because you're not practicing.
Not practicing.
Mm.
Exactly. So then those little things creep in my head. Oh my God, what if I can't breathe? Da, 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 da.
Those limiting beliefs and those false beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then for me, and I don't know anybody's spiritual beliefs on here. Mine are you reincarnate, you have karma, you choose your life path, you choose certain situations. And I have a lot of spiritual healers. I have a lot of energy healers. I talk to psychics. I talk to shamans. I do all these crazy things, crystals, moon, spirituals, all kinds of stuff. I've had past life trauma.
Mm.
So, past life trauma of heights, things of that nature, being pushed off of cliffs, being buried alive, stuff like that. So, that if you believe in souls, your soul knows everything, it carries all that into the next life.
Mm.
So, I have to do work on trying to relive that. And sometimes it's hypnosis where you have to relive the experience and then know it was back then and not now. So, a lot of different things.
Mm. Mm. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I appreciate you sharing that. I think your honesty and your approach could definitely be helpful to some others.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're not the only one. There's plenty of other people
Oh, I'm
going
not. I took a flying class in San Francisco airport. I was like 15 years ago, I remember. And it was all these people. It's a pilot comes in and it's an all day class. Actually, it's a weekend class. And at the end of it, you can choose to get on the plane with them with the tools that they taught you with the same people that are in the class. And you guys take a flight, a 45-minute flight to LA and come back to San Francisco. Girl, I was like, no, I ain't doing that. I
right.
learned the tools, but when it came to time to getting on that plane, I was like, I can't do it. I
Wow.
just couldn't do it. But I've learned everything you could possibly learn about an airplane.
Wow. Hmm. But at
Why?
least you even did that. You know what I mean? You're learning the inner workings of how a plane actually operates. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So that could help alleviate even some anxiety, understanding, okay, this is how this works, you know?
Yeah, and I even brought up to Mark like a few weeks ago. I was like, maybe I should take flying lessons. Maybe if I
Maybe.
learned how to fly. And he was like, I think it's a great idea. And then I started thinking, I was like, I'm scared to get in those little planes.
What if you do a simulator first? Don't you have to do a simulator first or something?
I don't know. You want to take a flying lessons with me? Let's do it together.
Against it. I'm not you know, I actually think it would be really kind of cool to know how to fly a plane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Something about that just sounds kind of like badass.
It's so freeing. And then really once I used to get on the plane and sit by the
Yeah,
window and I would be up in there, I'd be like, it's so peaceful up here. It's
yeah,
so zen. It's
yeah,
so and it was good. Like once I got over the adrenaline and the takeoff and I got myself to calm down, I'm like, this is really beautiful. So and
yeah.
I'm thinking, and then I always see planes flying over our
Mhm.
house, and I'm just thinking, what if I was one of those people in those planes flying over my house, and
Maybe.
yeah,
We can explore it. I'm not against it. Granted, will I be a little fearful about it?
of
Absolutely. But
course.
there's plenty of people who learn how to do it, and hell, I think I'm smart. But I think it would be kind of badass. Yeah, I have my pilot's license.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna be flying my family places and
no,
things, but
no, I'll still fly.
I
Someone else
think,
will still fly the plane.
well, funny enough, I used to date a guy. He used to fly planes, and he was always like, "Let me fly you to Vegas." I was like, "Hell no!"
Oh man.
So it is cool. It's cool when people are like, "I could fly a plane."
Yeah, no, it's really, really cool. And the thing is, flying a plane or whatever it may be, everyone's got a dream. Everyone's got something that they aspire to do, and then it's just like it scares the shit out of them. Even the dream sounds great. The
Yeah.
process to get there is a whole different story,
Right.
and that
Right.
the confidence is being challenged. But that honestly, that separates the goods from the greats. You know, you're willing to try and to fail, and I don't think it's a failure that you tried. You know, that you went and learned all these things about the plane.
Yeah.
You tried,
That's right.
and you can keep going. You know what I mean? When you go get your pilot's license, you're probably going to have a leg up. Like, oh yeah, I know this already.
Yeah.
So, and that's everything is incremental, as we talked about. You really don't get ahead in life without trying things. And typically, when you try,
Absolutely.
you don't master them right away.
No. And but why
Otherwise,
do we have to master anything too? Just
exactly.
experience the experience. Like I hate everything has to be mastered nowadays. No, just do it.
You're right.
You could say
You're
you did it.
right. Yeah. No, there's just power. There's so much power in just the experience and
That's
being
all
curious
life is.
and
Everything
curiosity.
we're doing right now is just an experience. And that's what people totally fail to realize. And it's not their fault. It's society, man. We put all these rules and labels and
Mm-hmm.
things on ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's about the experience.
And I mean, look at these billionaires. They're as curious as hell. You know what I mean?
Because you can
So,
have so much money. I'm trying to tell y'all, when you have so much money and money's not an issue, all everything is about the experience at that point. Because
mm-hmm,
what are you gonna do? Go buy another house? Okay, did that. Another
mm-hmm,
car, more clothes,
mm-hmm,
plastic surgery.
mm-hmm. Eventually, it all gets old. Been there, done that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
No, you really gotta enjoy the experience and try.
mm-hmm.
Really just try.
Yeah.
Stand up straight, show up, and try.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's it.
That's it. Well, we always hope this is helpful to you guys. We always appreciate you listening and tuning in, as always.
Mm-hmm.
Leave us a rating, a review, and all that good stuff because we do pay
Yeah.
attention to those. Hopefully, you walk away from this, feeling a little bit more confident and ready to try something new today.
Yeah. Go out and do something.
Do something,
A little something, something.
something. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.